invite Aaron onto the stage. Aaron
Whoa.
Garfinkle, CPA, first appearance. I hope first of many on Last Man Standing. I'd love to bring you in every year if you're willing to. We are so excited to talk to you because, as I said at the start of the show, you're not just a CPA, which is helpful enough, but you also appreciate Circa Survivor like we do, Aaron. So can we start there? How many years have you been playing Circa Survivor, and how'd you do this year?
Yes, I've been in it since 2021. This year was going well, and then the Lions on Thanksgiving, they got me again. I've been doing this for 5 years, Tony. 3 out of the 5 years, my final remaining entry has been gone down with the Lions.
Oh gosh. And it's like next year you have to block that out of your mind if there's a great spot to use the Lions, but how can it not be in the back of your mind? I know I feel like I have Dallas Cowboy trauma from 2021, the same year you started. I lost with the Cowboys in overtime on Thanksgiving, and it's tough for me to trust them ever since. But let's get into the tax implications, because there's a lot of people out there. The 10 left, believe me, they're looking forward to this show. They're looking forward to hearing from you. And there's some people that want to plan ahead and say, you know what? If I end up in this spot from years to come, I want to know what I can do to set myself up, et cetera, et cetera. So the first question I have for you, what is the difference tax-wise between 2025 and 2026 that sports bettors should know if they're planning on winning Circa Survivor?
Yeah, so the OBBBA was signed into law recently, and basically what it does is it says normally beforehand in 2025 you could deduct all of your losses up to winnings, but starting in 2026 you can only deduct up to 90% of your total losses. So say you have $100,000 of sports bet winnings, and then you have $100,000 of sports bet losses. Well, in 2025 you could basically cancel each other out. But in 2026, you can only use $90,000 of losses. So you'd have to pay $10,000 worth tax on $10,000 worth of income.
Gotcha. Good stuff.
So, we got a great tweet. Everybody that knows you're on, they want some information. So Chris Hauser, who's the man, shout out House. So wants to know, is there a difference tax-wise if you win at Christmas 2025 versus winning week 18, which in 2026? Note, I guess both cases payout is in 2026.
Yeah, so generally for individuals, the income's recognized once you actually receive the cash. So yeah, Circa rules dictate 2026. So that's when you'd recognize the income, which is important too, because let's say you do $100,000 worth of hedge bets that lose in 2025. Well, the IRS does not let you carry those over to the next year. So essentially, you'd be paying taxes on the full amount of your winnings in 2026 rather than being able to cancel any of those out with hedge bets. Now, I say generally because there's another status called professional gamblers. And professional gamblers can choose to file on accrual basis. It just has to be done every single year. You have to file on accrual basis. It can't be like, oh, this year I'm going to do cash basis. This year I'm going to do accrual. And accrual is basically once you earn the money, even if it's not like in your bank account, even if Circa hasn't paid it out, you actually tax the money on that year. So if you were an accrual basis professional gambler filer, that would be the one case where if you won the contest in 2025, you'd recognize the income in 2025.
Gotcha. And I think it's also important to note there may be people out here that, win a Circa Millions quarterly prize. That would be in 2025. So for them, those hedge bets would be in the same year. So shout out to anybody that might be in that situation moving forward. Talk to me a little bit more about losing hedge bets that for some people, they might be able to write off. I have a weird scenario for you that someone in the Discord channel just threw out. What if your hedge was actually a parlay, Aaron, and the first leg of it was in December and the second leg was in 2026, so you got paid out in 2026?
So it would depend on when, assumedly you win Circa Survivor, right? And so let's say you're on the Cowboys for Circa Survivor, so you do a hedge bet on the Commanders, then you just randomly throw in a parlay on, I don't know, like the Broncos week 18, right? So I'm not 100% on parlays, so maybe you can correct me, but I believe parlays are graded at the time that kind of the first leg of them loses, in which case if the Commanders lost in 2025, that'd be a losing bet for 2025 tax year.
It'd be
No,
when it
I'm
was
not an
graded.
expert.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if they graded it at the time of the final leg of the parlay, then it'd
Yep.
be 2026. But
Gotcha. That's helpful. That's helpful. Good stuff there.
So I'm just curious. I mean, I travel a lot for work, so maybe this is a little selfish of a question, but like, if you win the whole thing, and obviously you shouldn't complain, you got plenty of money, but can you deduct like plane fare, hotels, like expenses? Because there's, a lot of expenses sort of get out to Vegas, and some people are getting out there multiple times. Is any of that deductible?
yeah, so the IRS treats basically two different statuses of gamblers. There's recreational gamblers. That's like you're just throwing in an entry for fun on Circa Survivor. And there's also professional gamblers. These are people who do it not necessarily as their full-time job. They can have a full-time job, but they do it like continuously, regularly. They have a strategy that will long-term make them a profit. Things like that. There are 9 different factors, the IRS list, that you can kind of look up. There's not like one specific like number test or anything that determines it. But for recreational bettors, they can essentially only deduct the actual wager made. But for professional bettors, they can deduct things like you said, like the plane fare, the hotels to make your Circa bet, or if you bought any software, for example, to help you like calculate odds. That's all considered deductible under like a professional gambler status, because essentially you're running a business, right? And those are kind of business expenses.
Nice. Great stuff here from you, Aaron. A little different scenario here. If I sell part of my entry on Survivor Sweat's website, they send me a W-9 for this income, right?
Yep.
Can I deduct my entry fee that I paid for that entry? If I sell an entry for $40,000, can I deduct my $1,000 entry fee? Or maybe if I bought multiple entries, could I deduct those?
Yeah, so I mean, once any entry you have loses, that's deductible on that year. So let's say you had like 2 different entries, one of them went out week 1, whatever. So that's $1,000 immediately deductible for 2025 against any gambling winnings. And then let's say the entry you sold, let's say you sold 50% for 40,000 even, then you would deduct $500, 50% of 1,000. That's so you deduct $1,500 worth of gambling losses against your winnings, basically. Or yeah.
Our guest is Aaron Garfinkle. You can find him on X. It's at Cheesy Bets, right? With double E's on both of them, right?
Yeah.
Double
So
E's.
I also post like basically projections of Circa. You might have seen me on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah. And
very
I'm
good projections, I might add. Very good and accurate projections. So definitely give him a follow. CHEESEE Bets.
Yeah, I'm going to be messaging you on the side too. Final one from me. Let's say you have 10 entries, 10 grand, and you sold one for 20 grand. Can you deduct 10 grand in entry fees or just 1,000? Neither? How do you play that?
So let's just say you had 10 entries, 9 are still alive, and you sold one for the 20 grand. Then you can only deduct the 1,000 because all the others are still alive entries, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yep. All right, Aaron, last question from me. How about tips? If I decide I want to tip Jeffrey Benson, if I decide I want to tip someone, if I decide I want to tip Last Men Standing, if I want to tip somebody, can I deduct that in any way?
So I'd say the best way to do things like tips would probably be that Circa lets you, when you get your winnings, essentially, you can tell Circa, hey, I want Jason paid out 20 grand. I want Tony paid out 30 grand, things like that. And basically they'll help you out with filing what's called Form 5754, basically to say like, hey, Jason's getting 30 grand. I don't want to deal with that money. That's not my money. Jason can pay all the taxes on that. It's not my problem, basically.
Nice. And then you don't have to get stuck with that tax burden. Good stuff. Aaron, this is so helpful. I know there's a lot of people out there that were hungry for this information. Anything you want to add before we let you go?
No, I think mostly we covered it. I think the timing's a big issue for Circa in terms of if you place a hedge bet in 25, like you can't carry it over. So that's something to be very kind of careful about. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff. Aaron Garfinkle at CHEESEE Bets on Twitter. Check him out. Reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You're the man. Thank you, man.
Stuff. Super helpful information there, Jason. I think a lot of people are probably going to save this episode, bookmark it, and maybe if they're in this situation a year from now, they can go back and watch it. So I think this one will live on for a while.
I'm dying to know